listening to Give God 90, where we're not afraid of the tough biblical questions, because we will dig through the language, the culture, and the history to find the truth revealed in the words of our Creator.
I wanna see the light.
Well, hello, everyone. Thank you for letting us be part of your day. My name is Jerry Mitchell, and yes, I said us on a Monday morning. The happy to be here Myra is sitting next to me,
Hi, everyone.
making certain that I am staying on track and doing the things I am supposed to be doing.
It's a hard job, but somebody's got to do it.
How about that? For everyone who is new to us, let me tell you about the website. If you go to givegod90.com, there's all kinds of neat stuff there. If you go to the More page, you'll see some things there. And one thing you might be interested in that I haven't talked about a lot, and that is we are actually an affiliate with Zero Shoes. If you go through Give God 90 and click the link there, it will take you to Zero Shoes, which is a company out of Broomfield, Colorado, and they actually design shoes that let your feet do what they're supposed to do, what they were designed to do. Let's put it that way. They give you the protection, but they let your feet naturally find their own
Happy place,
happy
maybe?
place, yeah. And if you have feet like I do, you need that. I broke the right foot when I was 14. It's been 21 years ago now that I messed my left foot up. So,
Yes.
and it's the only shoes I've found that actually let my feet go where they're supposed to go. So if you do that, it helps pay for what we do here. So if you buy something, it helps. So go there, look around, see what you can find. We're coming up on the gift giving season. Books are a great gift. I'll recommend two right off the top of my head. And that is Tradition to Truth, What Man Search for Honest Answers. The other, God's Universe, God's Rules, both available wherever fine books are sold. But do yourself and your neighbors a favor. Order them from a local bookstore, if at all possible. Okay. If you notice the title for today, did God fail? Well, the argument is God is a failure. And that argument doesn't come from believers. It comes from the secular world. And I'm sure you've heard it. What powerful God would be so cruel as to allow children or animals who have no voice to suffer? These same arguments often come from those people who are pro-choice, which is really, really, really strange to me. What loving, caring God would be so cruel as to let children suffer? Oh, by the way, my appointment for my abortion is tomorrow. That just doesn't add up to me, right? I mean, am I the only one that hears the ignorance in that statement that I have heard, by the way? They're willing to kill the unborn babies, but they don't want to hurt any animals. To answer the question, has our Creator failed? We need to look at some things that He said, okay? And we need to get an idea about His plan for the earth and of mankind. And we're going to start, you're going to read Genesis 1:31, short to get us started with.
And God saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good. And the evening and the morning were the sixth day.
So, our Creator looked over the world that He had just created. He just finished it. And He said, it was very good. That doesn't sound like failure. How many people have ever painted a picture? If you're an artist and you've painted a picture, even a 6 or 7 year old child, they got their crayons or their finger paints or whatever it is that they have, and they do this picture, and they're so proud of it, they don't, no matter how bad it might be, they don't consider themselves a failure. They think it's the greatest artwork in the world. A craftsman Even an amateur craftsman who begins woodworking and he turns out a table, it might not be what he might consider perfect, because I can guarantee you he will see every mistake he made in it. But everybody else is going to say, that's very good. He says, yeah, it is pretty good. I could have done this, I could have done that, but he'll see all the mistakes. Our granddaughter just, her first pottery piece comes out of the kiln today. And she's so proud of it. The pictures are really, really nice. I don't know what it's actually going to look like when it's finished. But it's going into if it comes out of the kiln properly, it's going to a statewide competition. That's how good the teacher thinks it is. Her first attempt, she took her time and took her teacher's advice. She's doing it right. But even that, they look at it and they think it's good. So when the creator of the universe said something's very good, do you think it's going to have any mistakes? Probably not. Probably not. But still, if we look just a couple of chapters down, Genesis 6:6.
And it repenteth the Lord that he had made man on the earth, and it grieveth him at his heart.
Oh my. So just a little ways into creation, about 2,000 years, just a short time, he was so grieved and sorry that he had created man. But why? Well, the answer is in the previous verse.
And God saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thought of his heart was only evil continually.
So the wickedness of man is what caused him grief. So who failed whom? Did God fail us? Did he change anything? Did he change the rules? It seems to me that we probably failed the Creator. After all, when Eve spoke to the serpent, the very first transcription of a conversation in the Bible. Now, she knew that she was told by the Creator not to eat the fruit. She had heard his voice, but still, she chose to add to his words and get trapped into eating. Did she wonder what it was going to taste like? Did she look at it and say, yeah, it's pretty. It looks kind of good. I'm told not to eat it, but yeah, I don't know. Now I'm kind of, I've entered into this conversation and I've got myself backed into a corner. I've got to eat it now. I don't have a choice. Well, actually, she did have a choice. She just chose not to exercise the choice. Maybe Eve was pro-death. I don't know. I just happened to think of that. Pro-choice, in the abortion world means you can have an abortion. Pro-life means you continue to live. Maybe Eve was pro-death. Never thought of that before. Something to think about. Did she wonder what it would be like? Nothing happened when she ate the fruit. It wasn't until Adam ate it. Why is that? Simple, because Eve was only part of Adam. Not until Adam's entire being, of which Eve possessed his rib and that portion of the breath of life that gave her life, it wasn't until Adam ate to complete that whole being eating that fruit that the rebellion would be complete. That's when their eyes were opened to what they'd done. Now, evil had entered the world with the adversary. Why didn't the world collapse then? Because the earth was not made for the divine beings to inhabit. Isaiah 45:12 is,
I made the earth, and I made all the people living on it. With my own hands I stretched out the skies. I commanded all the armies in the sky.
So the earth is made for mankind. The heavenly realm, as it says in Genesis 1:1, God created the heavens and then the earth. He made his realm where he does all his things first. Then he made the earth, and he made the earth and all the people. The earth made for man. Now, after the flood, some of the divine beings were given certain geographical areas to look after and maintain order. Right? Now, that was after the flood. Excuse me, the adversary, the enemy, or Satan, Lucifer, whatever you want to call him, he chose to rebel not first on earth, but first in heaven. And he extended that rebellion to earth through Eve and then on to Adam. And that's actually what brought evil onto the earth. Our Creator didn't fail. He had certain safeguards set up. We're the ones who failed. We became extensions of the rebellion, although some of us did not. You know, if you go back and you start looking at who was doing what, you see, you know, people like Seth, one of Adam and Eve's sons, Enoch, Noah, Abraham, Moses. You know, you get the idea of who had a desire to walk with the Creator. And there's been many, many of them throughout history. You know, one of the last that was recorded in Scripture would have been Elizabeth and Zechariah. It says they were righteous in the eyes of the Almighty, according to Luke. So the question we should ask ourselves is, who do we stand with? What are we doing? Where are we in all of this today? And when we look to answer that, we can look back throughout history and see how different people have answered that question. Now, Mattathias Maccabee, you know, we're getting ready, coming up on Hanukkah, right? So Mattathias Maccabee chose his side. You know, and read the account. Okay, go back. If you look in the Apocrypha, read 1st and 2nd Maccabees, you'll come across this account where Mattathias chose his side. He challenged his companions when he shouted, "Whoever is for the covenant and for the law, come with me." You see, the Maccabees didn't fight for themselves. They didn't defeat the Greek army because they wanted independence. They weren't victorious because they followed a failure in a failing God. They were victorious because they chose obedience. They chose to follow in the footsteps of David, who met Goliath in the valley when everybody else was afraid. David challenged Goliath not because he was shouting and challenging the Israeli army. David challenged Goliath because Goliath was speaking against the name of the Creator. He was saying our Creator was a failure. The Maccabees stood on the same grounds and challenged the Greek army because because the Greek army was trying to force the Hebrew people to violate the covenant, to violate the law, the sacred word of our Creator. But the Maccabees chose not to follow failure. If you want to know what failing really looks like in the Bible, there's a very, very good description in Revelation. Chapter 20, verses 11 through 15. You might want to pay attention to this.
Then I saw a great white throne, and the one who was sitting on it. Earth and sky ran away from him and disappeared. And I saw the dead, great and small, standing before the throne. And the book of life was open. There were also other books opened. The dead were judged by what they had done, which was written in the books. The sea gave up the dead who were in it. Death and Hades gave up the dead who were in them. Each person was judged by what he had done. The death and Hades were thrown into the lake of fire. This lake of fire is the second death. And if anyone's name is not found written in the book of life, he is thrown into the lake of fire.
Failure is not an option here. Okay? Just saying. Failure's not an option. And that came from the International Children's Bible. It's actually pretty close to what it says in Greek. I'm really looking forward when Miles Jones completes his translation to what this says in Hebrew, because I have a feeling I know what it's going to say. It's probably going to be, instead of a lake of fire, more like an oven, following the Old Testament concept where, remember the lesson of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, right? Were thrown into the fiery furnace. That's probably going to be what it's more like in Hebrew. Just mark my word, keep on track, see if I'm right when all that comes out. Because I'm kind of excited to see that. Anyway, if you choose to blot your name out of the book of life, you will be counted as a failure. Why is this so drastically horrific in the mindset of the people that Isaiah and John were writing to? Well, look at Isaiah 65:17.
Then I saw a great white throne, and
Nope, down here.
sorry. Look, I will make new heavens and a new earth, and people will not remember the past. They will not think about those things.
So, as you just read from Revelation about the great white throne, what happens when the judge sits on the throne? It says, and this is kind of oversimplistic, I guess is a good way to say it. The sky ran away and the earth and sky ran away from him and disappeared. That's when the existing heavens and the existing earth are done away with. When you see the judge on the throne, heaven and earth disappear. All that's left is humanity, divine beings, and God. That's it. That's what you get. They open the books. If you have your name blotted out of the book, guess where you wind up? If your name's not there, everything you've done will be mentioned against you. If you wind up in the lake of the fire, or in the lake of the fire, in the fiery furnace, however you want to describe it, according to Isaiah, you will never be remembered again. You'll never be spoken of. Nothing you ever accomplished, no matter how great you think it might have been, will ever be spoken of again. But those who remain faithful will inhabit the new earth, recreated to be very good once again. And this time, no evil will be able to stand on it. No evil will be able to penetrate it, because the free will this time on the new earth will be for every living being who is there, chooses to be there. They choose to be there. They choose to get along. They choose to worship and serve the Almighty Creator. And they do these things, and they will never remember the pain. They'll never remember the heartache. They'll never remember the evil. So why does our Creator allow that now? Why can't we have that utopian society today? Well, that's easy. We keep asking that question, but the answer has been in front of us all the time. The way we respond to suffering of our neighbors gives us the opportunity to display the glory of the Creator Himself. We need to help those in need. And we give them what they need, not always what they want. We are chosen, we are called to help people who are in need by giving them what they need. We just don't throw money at the problem and hope it goes away. There is more to helping people than sitting in a church pew, and when you throw a couple of dollars in the plate when it comes around in front of you. That's not helping people. That's just throwing money at a problem and hope it goes away. We're chosen to be involved, not fail our neighbors when we're offered the chance to actually help. Christians really like to read Luke 11, and it's verses 5 through 11. So if you want to read that, we're going to talk about this for a minute.
Then Jesus said to them, "Suppose one of you goes to his friend at midnight and says, 'Friend, lend me 3 loaves of bread, because I have a friend of mine that has come on a journey and I have nothing to set before him.' And suppose the one inside answers, "Do not bother me. My door is already shut. My children and I are in bed. I cannot get up to give you anything." I tell you, even though he will not get up to provide for him because of his friendship, yet because of the man's persistence, he will get up and give him as much as he needs. So I tell you, ask and it shall be given to you. Seek and you will find. Knock and the door will be opened to you. For everyone who asks receives. He who seeks finds, and to him who knocks the door will be open. What father among you, if his son asks for fish, will give him a snake instead? Or if he asks for an egg, will he give him a scorpion? So if you who are evil know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more will your Father in heaven give the Holy Spirit to those who ask him?
How many people are willing to be a good friend at midnight? Now, we have friends who are night people. They're up late. So it wouldn't bother them too much. We, on the other hand, have typically gone to bed early because we're up early in the morning. 4 or 5 o'clock, depending on where we were working at the time. So, this kind of doesn't fit our lifestyle today because of electricity and some other things that we have to make life easy to live at night. But there are still places in the world when it gets dark, people just go to bed. So if you come in the middle of the night and you're knocking on the door saying, I got company that just showed up. They've been traveling all day. I don't have time to make bread to feed them. Do you have any? Well, yeah. If you're a good neighbor, you're going to say, if you have it, you're going to give it to them. How many, now think about this. Obviously, if your child comes to you and says, I'm hungry. Well, actually, Blair did this yesterday. I want a cookie. Wait for supper. But I want a cookie. Well, you're going to take some cookies with you just after supper. You don't give them some things, right? But you're certainly not going to turn around and say, no, you're not going. You can't have a cookie because I'm going to give you an alligator, right? That's just not going to happen. Well, it's the same thing. And what I'm going to say now, it probably will. It's going to. There ain't no probably about it. It's going to offend some of you. How many parents are going to offer their children the lies about the traditions that they follow? How many people are going to offer their friends lies about the doctrines that they follow? Think about that. Well, our doctrine is based on. Well, if your doctrine's based on it, why don't you just use what it's based on? Right? If you say that your doctrine, let's just come right out and say, if you make the claim that your doctrine of your church, whatever denomination that might be, is based on the Bible, why don't you throw your doctrine out and just use the Bible? Wouldn't that make more sense? But I know a lot of places and a lot of denominations that don't want to do that because that means that they have to be obedient to the Word, and they don't like doing that. They like being obedient to themselves more. I know a lot of parents who it's easier to go with the flow and, oh yeah, when you lose that tooth, we'll put it under the pillow and the tooth fairy will come give you $1 or a nickel or whatever. When I was growing up, it was a dime. And that was a lot, okay? What, our kids got, $1? I think.
Yeah, $1.
And now, we bypassed the tooth fairy. It's just, you yank that thing out, and I'll give you, I think it was, $5 or whatever it was that Blair, because she did not want to pull that tooth.
No.
It was like, look, just yank it out. Just pull it. And not a big deal. And you know how kids are, right? So you do those kind of things. But we bypass all that and get right to the point. Our Creator isn't a failure. He doesn't fail us. we should be the same way. We're made in His image. We are not made to fail our neighbor, our friends, our family, or our children. And we were not designed to fail our Creator either. He doesn't fail us. He's not a failure for creating us. We are the ones who typically fail because we tend to reject Him. You know, for rebelling and making false claims and accusing Him of being cruel, that is failing our Creator. If you want to learn how to walk with our Creator, on the other hand, we can help with that. Visit Give God 90. Just start doing what it says. Those small changes you can make every day, ones that you barely notice, will turn your lifestyle into a lifestyle that will teach you how to include your Creator in everything you do. And it will certainly improve your life and the lives of the people around you. You don't have to get caught up in the garbage and the crap and the chaos. You can just put all that behind you and start doing the things that you need to do to help yourself and help the folks around you. It's that simple. Did you have anything you wanted to add to that?
It was a pleasure to be here with everyone today.
That's it? You didn't have much to say for being back on a Monday morning.
No, I don't.
All right, everyone. We certainly appreciate each and every one of you. And until Thursday,